What if what you've been calling a midlife crisis is actually a spiritual awakening? Because for many people, awakening doesn't begin with peace, it begins with discomfort. You wake up one day and something feels wrong. Not dramatically wrong, just misaligned. The life that once made sense suddenly feels foreign. And the question quietly appears, is something wrong with me? Or am I finally seeing clearly? A traditional midlife crisis is usually described as a reaction to aging. People imagine impulsive decisions, career changes, relationship upheaval, a sudden desire to reinvent life. But here's what often gets missed. Many so-called midlife crises are not about fear of getting older. They're about awareness arriving. For years, sometimes decades, we build identities based on survival, who we needed to be to belong, to succeed, to feel safe, to be loved, and eventually, the identity that protected you starts to suffocate you. Spiritual awakening often begins with loss of certainty. You may notice you can't tolerate superficial conversations anymore. Your career feels disconnected from meaning. Relationships feel energetically heavy. You feel emotional without understanding why. Nothing outside may have changed, but internally, everything has. This is the moment awareness expands. You start recognizing patterns you once lived unconsciously, and that realization can feel terrifying because awakening doesn't immediately give answers. It removes illusions first, and this can be unsettling. Here's the part almost nobody explains. Awakening is not just spiritual. It's neurological, psychological, emotional. Your brain has spent years reinforcing a specific self-concept. When awakening begins, that identity starts dissolving, and the mind interprets identity loss as danger. So you may feel restless, anxious, detached, unmotivated, confused about your purpose. This isn't failure. It's identity reconstruction. You're not losing yourself. You're separating from who you had to be. Here's the difference. A midlife crisis tries to escape discomfort externally. New possessions, new roles, new distractions. A spiritual awakening moves inward. You begin asking deeper questions. Who am I without expectations? What actually matters to me? What feels aligned with my soul? Instead of chasing excitement, you begin seeking truth, and truth changes everything. One of the hardest parts of awakening is isolation. You may feel misunderstood. Friends may think you're changing too much. Family may want the old version of you back. But awakening requires space, because transformation happens in solitude before it becomes visible in your life. Isolation isn't punishment, it's refinement. You're learning how to live authentically instead of automatically. So if you feel like your life no longer fits, if success feels empty, if you're questioning everything you once believed, you may not be having a midlife crisis. You may be experiencing an awakening, not the end of who you are, but the beginning of who you were always meant to become. If this resonates with you, subscribe to this channel. Here we talk about healing, awakening, and becoming together. Thank you for taking the time to connect with my content. And always remember, you are loved.